I met Chris and Harold back when I was probably about 10 or 11 years old, and we used to have a fierce competition in floor hockey and mini basketball, ready-made school versus McNally. So that's when I first met him.
My father went and he was acquiring some wheat seed from Gerald back in, I believe it was 1982. Come junior high, grade 7, Harold moved into R.I. Baker, as did I. That's where our relationship started out.
We were always playing against each other competitively in high school basketball. And then Harold and I went to college together. And then after that, I took 2 years, went to university, and then worked one summer with Chris at the research center in Lethbridge. And that's when we decided to take our trip to Australia. One of the neat things that Chris and I both did over there, and it probably got some of my interest in growing potatoes and the seed end of it, we spent 3 months working on a little potato farm outside of Melbourne and growing fresh market and seed potatoes.
I've talked to Gerald a little bit about their family history, and they've been in southern Alberta since 1909. And prior to Chris and Harold, Gerald was an innovative guy, and in the 70s, he partnered with some other people to build the potato storage domes.
When they went up, there was really nothing in the prairies other than a little small community of Chin here. So it drew the interest of a lot of people that were driving by us.
The domes are built out of concrete, and they have about 3 to 4 inches of insulation on the inside and outside. So they'll always keep their temperature about 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
The 3 domes has been 1, 2, and 3, but now we have 7 storages.
All our storages all have concrete floors. They all have in-floor ventilation. We can be putting 2 or 3 fields of potatoes into one bin, and we'll store those for up to 8 to 10 months. It's pretty crucial that we maintain the proper humidity, temperature, airflow through the potatoes, because we don't want them spoiling in the bin. We use the in-floor ventilation to flume the potatoes out.
And they go into an elevator, and then they'll go up into a destoner that separates the rocks from the potatoes. And then they'll go up into a pre-soak bin. We leave them in there for now about an hour, and then they'll go out into a washer. And then there's a leaf remover. Whatever's left ends up on the grading table, and if there's anything that needs to be taken out, then they go into the trailer and they're out the door.
We've spent a lot of time really designing a proper storage system. So when we flume them out, they all just come to a central location and go into our wash system. And that's taken probably the last 15 years to get everything in that system. It's been a huge asset to us for ease of unloading, and also just helps with the quality of the product we can ship.
Chris got the idea that we have all these cull potatoes and they should go into something productive.
Way back in 2011, they got involved in producing energy when it wasn't financially the thing to do. They just had that passion for looking after the climate.
Yes, the anaerobic digester was a huge undertaking for Chris. It was very big, but he never stopped with the challenges. He kept moving forward, and today it runs successfully.
We're taking any organic waste that would normally go to a landfill. We're also taking 7 loads of manure a week. So we mix the manure with the organics, we pump it into the digester, we collect the gas, and then we have a 633 kilowatt generator, 580 horsepower Jenbacher engine that runs from the gas that we are producing, which then first supplies the farm with power, and the excess power goes into the grid.
So they now produce all their own electricity. They put electricity back on the grid, and they produce a lot of their own fertilizer, which is a byproduct of producing the electricity.
What I remember about the farm is that it was a beautiful place, beautiful lane going down to the main farmyard. Pierre de Perry was always focused on making the landscape look like a park.
Back in 1992, Jerry, had the reins on the farm, and Knut was involved, and Ian was involved. So, a different structure overall, and it wasn't until later that we saw Chris and Harold, in a bigger way.
So when I started here in 1992, there were just those 3 domes there, and there was the old shop to the north of the domes there. oldest addition here, the driveway, and now this shop and the new office, coffee room, all that. The farm is probably 3 times as big as it was when I started here. So
one thing the Perrys have really been good at before I even started working here, they weren't afraid to trying new things all the time, and they weren't afraid to try new technologies or new practices. They've really tried to stay ahead of all the innovation that's going on in irrigation technology as far as variable rate equipment on the pivots. And I think that's a big part of the sustainability too, is how we're really trying to reduce our water and our inputs in the crop through more efficient irrigation.
Harold's focus in that regard of understanding soil science and the biology of soil, I think has really helped with the sustainability of their land. They have some of the most productive land in the world, I would argue.
Yeah, and that innovation has continued to today as they've been not just technologically focused on advancing their farm production, but have been a lot more conscious of the environment and doing the right thing to make productive soil. And in particular, Harold, when he got involved in the Nuffield Scholarship, developed this great passion for making good soil. And so they always think about the environment and production and economic balance when they're making decisions. So it's pretty cool.
The success of the Perry family farm extends to Kira and Jill and the children and of course Gerald and Beerta, the patriarch and matriarch of the families.
When I think of the Perry farm, I think of 2 things: that they are experts in their field, but most important, they treat absolutely everyone with respect.
They show that love and respect to everyone, whether you have been here for years, or you're just starting, or you're a neighbor, someone in the community. And I think it's just something that we could all have more of.
They always appreciate our family time and our free time.
They value your freedom and family time as much as they appreciate your work that you do for them.
They treat their crew like family to a large extent. That all came from, Gerald and Bearta's planting good values, I think, within the family unit. And Harold and Chris and Kira and Jill, they just continue to propagate that message with their children, and what they've accomplished over the years is pretty incredible in terms of evolution of a farm. They result in moving the farm forward.
It's just like a constant learning with trying to keep up with these guys, and I've found it very rewarding to be a part of that.
I think they've got a huge potential. They're entrepreneurial, they're hardworking, they already have their roles defined, and they're forward thinking. So I think they have huge potential for whatever path they decide to diversify into. I think they'll be successful.
They have a policy where people should be celebrating their strengths and work with their strengths. And they encourage that in everyone. So they have a very positive attitude always, and they love teamwork.
They were one of my favorite all-time clients. I used to call them my dessert people, because they were just the best, absolute best.
They really take a long-term view on things. It's not about short-term necessarily, it's about long-term and the legacy that they're leaving for the soil, for the farm, for their family, for the community. I'd like to congratulate the whole Perry family, from Jerry and Bertha to Chris and Kara and Harold and Jill and all their family for the contributions they've made to the community.
They are the very deserving choice for this honor. They are working in the agri-food sector for many years, and they are contributing to the feeding the people, but at the same time they are taking an environmentally sustainable approach. So they are utilizing all of the waste and producing biogas. That's a significant contribution to greenhouse gas reductions and also significant contribution to the humanity.
I am proud that this year's scholarship dinner honorees are the Perry family. They are a model for our students and key to Southern Alberta becoming a world leader in sustainable agri-food production. They've grown an outstanding, high-value family enterprise that is focused on sustainability, quality, and growth with a strong appreciation for their community. Congratulations to the Perry family for being the 2023 Dhillon School of Business Scholarship Dinner honorees.